That was really, it was really helpful when you said the opposite of being righteous or being condescending is being humble. Because in my mind, when we were in the meditation, I wanted to touch on the opposite, and I was like, well, what is it? And it felt like such a relief to have something to attach it to. And for me, I think that is the hardest part in those moments, is that there is some awareness of an internal desire to not be in the state. But because there's no tangible knowing of what the opposite is, or that the opposite is even the answer, there's a tendency to go into old patterns in that moment. So that was helpful.
That is so beautifully put. And so the humility being the opposite of condescension, and then having an anchor towards the humility,
Right.
is such a healing place. And it really is reinforcing the opening of your heart rather than reinforcing the defense structure.
Right.
And you saying that you have this desire to go somewhere, that's the anchor. That's the soul. That's the essential nature. And so it's so beautiful that you recognize that there is that desire. And that desire really exists in almost all of us. And so if we can find a way to touch that desire, to reinforce that desire, rather than a defense, it's such a beautiful, healing way of being. But yet it requires self-awareness.
Yeah.
It requires awareness of tone. It requires being willing to not want to be right, but instead wanting to be open-hearted and to find that place that you're talking about.
It felt very loving meditation. I felt like I was learning how to love myself and how to be loved. It was just kind of a practice at how to do that. And it felt good just mentally, just as you were guiding the meditation, just the thoughts and just the play felt nice.
It's great.
Yeah, it was really helpful, because even your tone of voice through the meditation would kind of, it almost felt like not a blanket, but a soft kind of hold around what was already naturally wanting to come out, but wasn't, inside of me wasn't sure. For example, when you were talking about, so you're in that place and you're in a tough spot, and you're asking for help, and your asking for help isn't being met the way that you want it to be. And then you feel the surge of that tone come up even more. The tone of your voice in that moment, it was like, yeah, the part of me was like, yeah, now what? And I was kind of hanging, and that, it really, it felt so, it opened me to curiosity versus what I'm used to experiencing, which is a sense of shutdown.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that curiosity, and what also seems to me like the open-heartedness as well,
Yeah.
is such a inspiring place to have faith in. It's like investing your faith in that part of you that really does want to open, even when you're feeling misunderstood, which is just extraordinary.
Right.
That's the place of liberation. That's the place of freedom. And that's the place that's so rare, because you normally feel, if you don't give it to me, well, then I'm not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
So it's going beyond that. It really, in a sense, it's going beyond the old
Right.
testament of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
Yeah.
And it's going into the place of,
Very much.
I'm going to actually look for a place to be loving, even if I don't feel loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.